Everyone likes Minecraft capes, and now with the fancy new migration cape being given out, more people than ever are getting a taste of those sweet 10 by 16 pixel rectangles. But what they don't tell you about capes is that the underside is actually the coolest part. Quick disclaimer, I got these images from minecraftcapes.net, which occasionally have some subtle differences between the capes on NameMC and the Minecraft wiki. I'll explain later when it's relevant. Anyway, let's get into the tier list. First off, we're starting in D tier, also known as boring tier. I don't make the rules. All the Minecon cape undersides are going in D tier because they're all kinda just plain and boring and have the exact same pattern. There's also another Minecon-like cape underside, the Cobalt cape underside, which is also going in D tier. Not much is to be said about the Migrator cape underside. It's unique, it doesn't look like the front side, and it's just all around pretty solid, so I'm putting it in B tier. Next up is the mysterious birthday cape that got added to an account owned by a Mojang employee. Honestly, this is a fantastic cape underside. The gold star seems to be referencing the front side of the millionth customer cape, and it fixes the asymmetrical pixel. I'm sorry I had to tell you about this. Over the years, Mojang has had a few different cape designs for their employees, of varying quality undersides. Now the first design, or the classic design, is just a disaster. Instead of actual shading that makes sense like the Minecon likes, this cape underside just has random noise, making it look incredibly wrinkly. Seriously, somebody get this cape ironed. F tier. The latest Mojang cape underside, however, somehow manages to be even worse. What you are looking at is the actual underside of the Mojang Studios cape. It's literally just a solid red rectangle. F tier. The Mojang cape underside currently used by most employees, on the other hand, is pretty solid. It keeps the border of the classic cape underside, which is probably the only redeeming quality of it, and adds a bit of shading similar to the Minecon likes. It gets a solid C tier from me. Speaking of the Mojang cape underside, the Realms Mapmaker cape underside actually has the same design but blue. It's actually common in the cape underside community to refer to these cape undersides as Realms likes. For some reason, minecraftcapes.net doesn't include this detail, so you can't see the shading in this video, but NameMC has it correct. Also, while on the topic, the Minecraft wiki compresses the cape designs in a really weird way, completely ruining most of the cape undersides, so you can't use the wiki to check for accuracy on cape undersides. Anyway, it's time for our first S tier cape underside, the Scrolls cape underside. Come on, just look at it. It's got a big S, it belongs in S tier. Surprisingly, not many people know about this Easter egg, which is a real shame, because it's gotta be one of the best cape undersides out there. Unfortunately, we've got to go back to F tier to discuss some more personal cape undersides. The Snowman cape underside, belonging to Julian Clark, suffers from the exact same issues as the classic Mojang cape underside. Easy F tier. Danny B Styles cape underside is pretty much the same, but somehow manages to be even worse with the asymmetrical trim at the top, though the top is less visible in-game at least. The millionth customer cape underside tries a unique shading style, but it doesn't really work in my opinion, and has some strange asymmetrical pixels. Lastly, Mr. Messiah's cape underside looks similar to a Minecon-like, but has a few differences, like the extra shade of green in the middle, the strange appendages on the left, and the three-sided border on the outside. In the area where the border intersects the bottom shading, there's a bright green stripe. Personally, I think all of these differences are for the worse, making it F tier. On the topic of Minecon likes with subtle modifications, the Mojira Moderator cape underside modifies the original Minecon cape underside in a good way with the gold trim. The issue is fiercely debated, but I think the Mojira cape underside should be considered a Minecon like, because it keeps the exact same shading texture. Mr. Messiah's cape underside shouldn't because it's clearly different, and the resemblance is likely coincidental. Anyway, the Mojira Moderator cape underside gets a B tier from me. Next up, the Bacon cape underside is alright. The border is nice, but otherwise it's just a rectangle of ham. C tier. Also, if you haven't heard of this one, that's because it was removed, but I still included it because why not? The Prismarine cape underside has a really neat Easter egg. It uses the dark Prismarine texture, which is the only time an in-game texture was ever used for a cape underside. It's not super special in any other way though, but I still think it deserves a solid A tier. The next cape underside is actually quite well known for its uniqueness, and actually has 3 different underside textures. Of course, I'm talking about the Translator cape, of which there are 3, the normal T design, the Japanese flag design, and the Chinese flag design. The concept of these is pretty cool actually, but unfortunately their design isn't that great, falling into the trap of just adding noise, which bumps them down to B tier. Also, minecraftcapes.net messed up the T design Translator cape underside, the other 2 have the correct noise texture. Our final cape underside is going to be, of course, the turtle cape underside, and it's an easy S tier from me. It's the bottom side of the turtle because it's the bottom side of a cape. How cute is that? Thank you, Billy K, not for getting turtles added to the game, but for getting this amazing cape underside added to the game. He did that personally, right? Anyway, that's every Cape Underside currently in the game, plus the Bacon Cape Underside. But there's actually 2 more Cape Undersides that were temporarily given to every player for a few days back in 2010. The first is the Christmas 2010 Cape Underside, given to all players on December 24th and 25th, which again just uses noise instead of proper shading. Sorry, this one's getting an F tier from me. The other temporary Cape Underside is the New Year 2011 Cape Underside, temporarily given to all players on December 31st, 2010. Now this is a quality Cape Underside. The pink gradient looks really unique, and it's just a nice color overall. The dithering on the gradient makes it sort of look like fireworks in the night sky, and the border is a nice touch. This Cape Underside gets a solid A tier. However, I can't be certain whether this is really what the Cape Underside looked like, because MinecraftCapes.net isn't perfectly accurate, and the Minecraft Wiki's compression issue makes the Cape Underside look much smoother. It's possible that the original Cape Underside was actually a smooth gradient, which would probably drop it to B tier, to be honest. I wasn't able to find any footage of the Cape Underside online, since, well, most people were interested in the front of the cape, for reasons unbeknownst to many in the Cape Underside community. If you know anything about the underside of the New Year 2011 cape, I'd love to hear about it. Anyway, that's my tier list. Remember that if you disagree, you're objectively wrong.